When I was younger, I watched a show called In Search Of about the mysterious lost colony of Roanoke, and I've always been fascinated by it. Of course, when I got older, I learned that the disappearance wasn't quite as mysterious as the show made it seem, but it's still a fascinating story. For those of you unfamiliar with the story, here's the Cliff's Notes version. In 1587, the first English colony in the New World was established on Roanoke Island, just off the coast of North Carolina. Almost immediately, they discovered that they needed supplies, so they sent a ship back to England to get help. Unfortunately, their timing was awful, as England and Spain were in the middle of a giant war. 3 years later, the ship finally returned, only to discover the colony completely gone, with only the cryptic word Croatoan, the name of a local tribe, carved into a tree. It is this legacy that Betrayer by Black Powder Games builds upon. In it, you play a colonist who sails from England to a colony off the coast of Virginia in 1604. When you arrive, you find only a desaturated world of ghosts and mysteries, and it's up to you to figure out what happened. That's a pretty fantastic setting for a horror game, especially considering how few games are set in the period of colonial America. What I love about the setting is that it beautifully marries history with various supernatural effects. The most noticeable of these is the fact that there's only 3 colors in the game: black, white, and red. Betrayer's world is colored almost entirely in black and white, with only a handful of important items showing in red. The gameplay is an interesting combination of genres. It looks and plays like a first-person shooter, but also has elements of exploration, mystery, puzzle, and role-playing games. You begin with nothing to defend yourself with, but as you explore, you start finding different period-appropriate weapons, which you can upgrade as you progress. Combat involves fighting ghosts, undead conquistadors, and other supernatural elements. It's very difficult at the beginning of the game, and although it gets easier as you gain access to more powerful weapons, it's never easy. A big reason for the difficulty is the historical setting, which limits you to black powder pistols and rifles, or bows for ranged combat. These are all powerful weapons, but reloading is time-consuming, especially for the firearms. There's also tomahawks and black powder grenades, but these are always in short supply. Often, you'll find yourself relying on your relatively weak and extremely risky melee attack to get you out of tight situations. While combat is an important part of the game, you can only advance through the different map segments by solving puzzles and gathering additional tools. This is another area where the game stands out. The puzzles are often fairly easy to sort out, but finding the necessary parts can be tricky. It won't take you long to realize that looking is not the ideal approach. You need to use your ears. Clues make distinctive tones that stand out from the minimalistic sound design of the game, which is primarily made up of spooky monster noises and the occasional gust of wind. Betrayer isn't a game for everyone. Players who are easily frustrated or have grown too reliant on tutorials will really struggle with the game. You start on the beach with absolutely nothing and no direction whatsoever. It's up to the player to explore and figure out the game's various mechanics, some of which are fairly unusual. Some people are going to hate this, while others will love the fact that the developers didn't have to hold their hands. Betrayer is a wonderfully unique horror puzzle game with difficult combat and an engaging story. While the biggest strength is its historical setting, there's a lot to like here once you get the hang of things.